Hello, what's up guys? It's Will back once again for another fight card prediction. We're here for UFC on ESPN 16, I believe. Holly Holm against Irene Aldana is the main event of the night. Decent fight. I actually think it's a fairly decent main event. Looking forward to kind of watching that one. Card I don't think's overly strong. There's a couple of fighters I'm looking forward to seeing. I mean, Carlos Condit's on the card there. He held a UFC belt. Casey Kenney's always fun to watch. Loma Lookboonmee is always a fun girl to watch. Jordan Williams I'm a fan of. So Germaine De Randamie against Juliana Pena. So yeah, we've got some decent fights here. It's a little bit of a come down after UFC 253, which I thought was a really fun card. I really thoroughly enjoyed that. Had a good night betting wise. I think about 3 underdogs. They all came through, so that's always nice to hit. Some underdogs. So yeah, but on this one here, I think it's a tough betting card. Just looking at some of the lines, there is some tough spots. There's a couple that I like. So yeah, if you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. I'm on the mission to try and hit 4,000 subs by the end of the year. We might get there, we might not, but if you can help, by all means do so. Hit the thumbs up as much as you can. Just absolutely nail the life out of that thumbs up if you can. And then leave a comment down below. I really want to see who you guys are on. Now, I'm saying it's a tough betting week, but like I said, everybody's different. So we can kind of decide and see. Like, I always like looking at people's comments to see where they see. Like last week, people were saying Diego Sanchez, and I'm like, I'm not really sure about that, but I like to hear people's difference of opinion and see if they find those spots, and then always give credit out to those people that see the spots that you do. So, yeah, I can see you guys in the chat there. Hope you're well. But like I say, subscribe, hit the button, comment down below. I really do appreciate it. So, getting into this, there's some fights I've not looked into a hell of a lot. I know that Tom Breeze, his fight got pulled off this card to the one next week. I think it's Marais Sanhagen fight card. So it's got moved. There's been some people fell out. So hopefully it's Conor going to box Manny. Oh, Jesus Christ. Who knows? Who knows with Conor McGregor? But we're going to start off in the lightweight division. Jessin Ayari against Luigi Vendramini. I mean, two guys that you've not really seen all that much of in the UFC, especially Vendramini. He's been out for nearly 2 years, I believe it is, after he's lost to Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos. You watch some of his regional fights. I think he fights out of I think he was born in Italy, but fights out of Brazil. Seen him fighting a lot of kind of low-level guys. Came into UFC, made his debut there. I thought he started off the first round actually really well. I thought he got a couple of decent shots off, but ultimately just the explosiveness of Zaleski dos Santos caught him and got him out there in the second round with a beautiful, I think it was a flying knee finish. Jessin Ayari's been in the UFC for 5 years, I believe it is, and he's only fought 3 times. He hasn't won a fight in 4 years. That was a split decision over Jim Wallhead, where I do think he should have won the fight. I thought he fought a fairly close fight with the now retired Stevie Ray, so all the best to Stevie Ray in his retirement there. But both guys fairly kind of lowish level. This to me is like a coin flip fight. I've kind of been going back and forth with this a little bit. I watched a bit more of Ayari. I mean, he came in as 23, 24-year-old. He's now, like I say, he's not fought in a couple of years. He's got the more UFC experience over Vendramini. I think he's got a little bit more of a well-rounded kind of game. I think Vendramini is more of a finisher. So I'm gonna pick the guy with the more UFC experience. I was kind of thinking, has Vendramini been like popped by USADA, because I've not seen him in a couple of years, and I was wondering where he was, but I looked up and there was nothing regarding USADA. So I'm going to take Jessin Ayari. I think this is going to be a close decision fight. I'll take him via split. Not seriously impressed by either guy, if I'm being honest with you, but I'll take Ayari very close. But like I said, I've not really looked into a couple of fights on Vendramini's side, and I watched the UFC fights of Ayari, both kind of low level guys, but I've got Ayari in that one. Bantamweight division, this is the guy that is really good, and I think a really good spot this week. We got Casey Kenney against Haile Alateng. I've bet Casey Kenney. I've got him in a parlay with someone from next week, with Tajia Ulanbekov, actually. I've got him with next week. I got plus money on that. I made that bet yesterday, and the line on Casey Kenney's kind of moved a little bit. I got him at minus 225. I think he's sitting around minus 250 here in the UK. and he's minus 290 in the States. Just looking at the best fight odds here. Alateng, to me, I just think that when I look at this matchup, Alateng's obviously got a lot of experience coming through the Chinese kind of regionals there, coming into the UFC, and he's won 2 fights. So respect to the dude for that. But I think from who he's faced, from Batgarel to Ryan Benoit, I think Casey Kenney is a level above, a level or two above. I think he's really solid across the board. Decent striking, good grappling, as tenacious as anything. It's a hard guy to kind of face. I really like what I see every time that he kind of steps in there, because he gives his all against tough guys. I mean, Ray Borg, Manny, who had a massive size advantage in that one there, and went in there with Merab. I picked him against Merab, and in hindsight, not a good look. I kind of sometimes I pick against Merab because I feel like you can't get him. I thought Casey could. I thought he fought a good fight in that one. You just can't stop someone like Merab for a 15-minute portion of that fight, and then he got a beautiful choke over Lewis Smolka. Like I said, when I look at this spot here, I don't see where Alateng really shines out in one spot that's going to stop someone like Kenney from kind of running rampant in this fight. So I've got Casey Kenney. I think that he could get him out of there. I think he actually will. In fact, I'm going to go pick him via submission. I think his pace is too much. I think that just his overall game is too much. So yeah, I'm going to pick Casey Kenney via submission inside the distance here. Like I said, I've got him parlayed up. Feel pretty confident with that parlay that'll hit. I just think that even at minus 290 that you guys in the States, I still see value in that. I think you can parlay him up. I think you could lay some money on him straight if you wanted to. So I've got Casey Kenney for the win in that one there. Loma Lookboonmee against Jinh Frey. Initially I thought, right, this fight could be kind of close. I like Lookboonmee. I've always been a fan of hers. When she was just starting off her career, I knew of her before really she started off in MMA, and I've been kind of impressed with her in her UFC kind of two fights. I mean, she fought Alexandra Albu, but then she's got a massive stepping opponent against Angela Hill, who has just got a ton more experience, and I think that fight will only help her kind of going forward in that aspect. Throws a lot of output, is a little like Tasmanian devil. Throws a lot of good combination strikes, will attack the legs. Jinh Frey's another one. I'm just not sure about Jinh Frey in the UFC. I thought she started off that fight against Kay Hansen pretty decently, but evidently you've seen that the strength and a kind of grappling disparity really came to the front there. It's not looking that good, but she's probably not going to have to kind of do that with Loma, because Loma's, she initiates the stand-up, they're going to stand there and kind of trade. To me, I just see Loma as being more explosive with her striking, faster, throws more. Could Jinh Frey maybe try and take this to the ground? Because she has did a little bit of that in the past, where she can take the fight to the ground, and it wouldn't be a bad thing to do here. I've been kind of swithering on whether to bet Loma Lookboonmee. I mean, she's 4-2 as a pro. But I do like Loma. I am a fan of hers, actually. I think she's fun to watch fight. Jinh Frey, I mean, she's older for kind of coming into the UFC. I think she's 35, 36 years old. Lost that fight to Hansen. Obviously, she had a championship belt around her waist in Invicta, which is always something nice to have. But I'm not overly sure about her in the UFC. So I'm going to take Loma Lookboonmee. I wouldn't mind if that line came down close to a pick'em. I mean, minus 125 still not bad, but this could have the potential to be a really close stand-up affair. I just like the volume and the output more from Loma to win that one there. But I know there's some people on Loma initially. Some people have messaged me regarding Loma Lookboonmee, and I think that's not a bad spot. It's just hard to be confident in a 4-2 girl. But Jinh Frey to me doesn't really exude kind of any confidence of coming in here and dominating the fight. So Loma for me there. Kyler Phillips against Cameron Else. Cameron Else is a guy I've known about for a long time. Fights out here in the UK. I think he fights out with Jackson Wink when he gets the opportunity. I don't think he's been out there. I think he's been... I've seen a couple of videos with him and Donald Cerrone. I think Cerrone's actually helped him quite a bit in his career. when you look at his record, it's wherever you look, it's 10-4, 7-4. He's had his losses. He's came through the Cage Warriors. Um, he started off in Cage Warriors. He's kind of moved around. He went to Bellator. He's been to Brave. I think he was in Bama at one point. So he's a guy that's never really been tied down to promotional too much. Most of his fights are at Cage Warriors. He's got a win over Paddy Pimblett. That was way back in 2013, though. So that was when Pimblett was probably about 17 years old. Ed Arthur was another guy that he faced that I had high hopes for Ed Arthur, and he kind of fizzled out a little bit, but that was way back in 2016. And then, like I say, he's not really fought in over a year since he last fought in Brave. He will bring the fight to Kyler Phillips, I've no doubt about it. I just think that he might have a little bit too many spots that Kyler Phillips could initially take advantage of. Plus, he's been getting ready for a fight. I can't remember who fell out of this one here. Let me just have a quick look. Dana Batgarel, so he was probably preparing for a guy that's maybe going to kind of grapple up a little bit. But I think his striking's more crisp. I think he's decent on the ground. I mean, I bet against him last time, Kyler Phillips. I thought he looked really good against Gabriel Silva. I thought his output was unbelievable. He's got vicious head kicks. He's got some vicious striking in there. He's a guy that's always been kind of hyped up a little bit. He was on Ultimate Fighter. Didn't really play out too great. Comes from a great camp there in Arizona, which I've always been a big fan of. Is that camp out there? Cameron Nils could bring the fight to him and could catch him with a shot, depending how Kyler Phillips really approaches the fight. But I think where he might have a big advantage is if he gets it to the ground down there. So I'm going to take Kyler Phillips. I'll take him via decision in that one there. But I think Cameron Elsa will bring the fight. I think he'll not sit back and just let this fight kind of pass by in this spot. But I'll take him in that one there. Charles Jourdain against Josh Culibao. I'll be honest with you, I'm picking Charles Jourdain, but I think this betting line is off. Honestly, I think we've all been. I've been impressed with what I've seen from Charles Jourdain, even though he's not did well in the UFC. I mean, he won that fight over Do Hoo Choi. What did I say? He's not did well. He's did all right actually. Lost that fight to Desmond Green in his debut, where takedowns really came through. Getting my words muddled up there. Then obviously got that big win over Do Hoo Choi, where everybody was kind of going against him. There was some sharps out there that were on him, bet him in a big spot there. Fair play to that. The guy's got devastating striking, and that's something that you have to really be careful with, because once he plants his feet and decides to throw, he's dangerous. He's super dangerous. I mean, and he had a big step up in opposition last time against Andre Fili. Fili, in my opinion, is a top 15 guy without a shadow of a doubt. And he gave Fili some big licks in that fight. I mean, he caught him with some clean, nasty shots. Seems like he kind of rocked Fili a little bit, but Fili, being the pro and the vet in that spot, took the fight to the ground, where you can take Charles Jourdain to the ground. That's what Desmond Green did. That's what Fili did. Do Hoo Choi was never ever going to do that. He was going to stand in front of him and absolutely blast him with everything that he got. And eventually that just caught with him. I mean, he was winning the fight, in my opinion, was Do Hoo Choi. But if I can remember right, so I watched that back earlier in the week, I think he was kind of... No, in fact, I actually think that Jourdain was winning the fight. Yeah, remember now. And then it got him out of there in the second. Culibao, I mean, you can't take too much away from his debut against Jalen Turner, because Turner is a massive dude, huge reach advantage. I tried to fade him there because I thought that Turner, I mean, you can see that the guy's got a lot of aspects of his game, which is, once he puts all together, it's going to be a difficult guy to face. But he was just outmatched in that one, just plain truly outmatched. But a very aggressive fighter, will come forward. It's susceptible to kind of low kicks, which Jourdain can definitely pop him with. Jourdain, like I say, once he plants his feet, he can absolutely throw some power shots, and that's what I'm a little bit scared of here. But I think the betting line's off, honestly. I don't know, people are betting like Jourdain at minus 450. That's not for me. I would rather be on the other side. Culibao's got a lot to kind of gain in here by taking somebody like Jourdain out, if he could do it. initially, I'm going to take Jourdain. I think if I had a bit more balls about me, I'd maybe pick Josh Culibao. Maybe this is the better spot than it was originally in the first fight, but yeah, Culibao, he's came through the Aussie kind of regionals, and he's not fought the greatest competition, but I think he's a gamer. Will look to really bring the fight to Jourdain, which might end up being to his detriment. So I'll take Charles Jourdain. I'll maybe take him. I'll take him via knockout, but I do think there's some value at Josh Culibao, and that line, in my opinion, is probably only going to go up a little bit because Jourdain, when you watch some of his recent fights in the UFC, he's got the big knockout power, and he's dangerous with a lot of strikes that he throws. But I will pick him in this spot, but I do think Josh Culibao could make this a lot closer than the betting line suggests, is what I should say. This one's really interesting to me, and I've been flip-flopping, and you guys in the chat here, I want to know who yous are on in the welterweight division here. We've got the former interim champion in Carlos Condit against Court McGee. I mean, I don't know, that Robbie Lawler fight, I still watch it, and I think that he should have won that fight. Absolutely, I still watch it. I thought his output was there. I thought he was landing more. Of course, he was eating some big shots from Robbie. But when I watch, I'm just like, I'm so surprised that he still kind of lost that fight. But since then, I mean, he has fell off a cliff. It's been one of the most dangerous guys in the sport, and he's just went on to kind of really losing fight after fight. So he's probably his last win was, I was going to say Thiago Alves, was it? It is Thiago Alves, May 30th, 2015, 5.5 years. Wow, that's crazy. I mean, you look at the people he's lost to, not bad people. When you look at today's standards of fighters, you've got Damian Maia, Alex Oliveira, who's very dangerous once it gets to the ground. Magny, we've seen that it's just a bad matchup for a lot of guys. Michael Chiesa's a good submission grappler. The guy cannot stop a takedown to save himself. So if I'm Court McGee here, I'm pushing for takedowns, and it's not something that he's really been known for, but if you watch some of his UFC fights back, you will see that he can get the fight to the ground in some spots, but he can also engage in brawls a little bit, which kind of has thrown me off in this pick here. I'm on like, is Carlos Condit really is he gonna come out and start winning fights? Because I still feel he can win the right type of matchup, and is this a matchup that he could use here, like that he could win? I mean, Court McGee is a super tough guy. He's a hard guy to take out, but technically wise, he's not on the level of like a Carlos Condit, but his heart and his durability will push him through those hard spots, and he can throw loads of output. Both guys could. So this could be a high output fight. You've seen in the last fight with Sean Brady, Court McGee threw, I think it was over 100 significant strikes watching back. But he's lost 4 of his last 5. He's only win against Alex Garcia, where he decided to use takedowns in that fight, which I do think, and in the Dominic Steele fight was where his last win before that, he used takedowns in those fights. So I think engage on the feet, see how it's going, but if you can't get the fight to the ground, if you're not having success on the feet, take the fight to the ground and see if you can have some success down there. I mean, it's hard to pick Carlos Condit in this spot. It really is. And I'm looking at the betting odds and I'm thinking, Carlos Condit plus 115, could he be the pick here? But I can't get my head around him. Like, he's lost 5 in a row. Maia, Magny, Oliveira, Condit. He's been stopped in 3 of those 5 fights. Does he still want it anymore? I don't think he does. I think he's coming in here for a paycheck. I think that he still gets paid fairly decently by the UFC, and he's 36 years old, so he's not a young buck anymore. One of my favourite knockouts is still the Dan Hardy knockout from years ago at UFC 120. I've never been in an arena where it's been so deathly quiet. Like, it was so quiet in that arena when he knocked out Dan Hardy. It was crazy. I'm going to take Court McGee. I think it edges out a decision. I think it could end up playing close, but I think Court has more tools to kind of win this fight, and I think that Carlos has more kind of frailties in his game that Court can maybe take advantage of. So I'm going to take Court McGee 29-28 decision in that one there. Moving on, this is another one I'm struggling with. Jordan Williams against Nassourdine Imavov. That was a hard one to get. Imavov. I cannot say that. Yeah, nearly midnight. I'm kind of struggling for words on that. Jourdain Williams is a guy I've actually been fairly high on. Before he actually went in the Dana White Contender Series, I thought that he had a good chance to win a contract through there. I actually bet him in that first fight. I think it was against Tim Caron, where he I thought that he had a really good opportunity there. He won the fight. I think it was that night. I had two bets that night. I can't remember who the second guy was, but I bet him as an underdog. He came through in that one there. 9-3 record. Imavov is a guy that I've not seen all too much. I went on the fight, kind of the tape where I watch fights, and there wasn't a hell of a lot of recent fights, which I'm kind of thrown off a little bit by. But you've seen that 8-2 record, not bad at all, really. Fighting out of France. The last fight I seen of his was actually his last fight against Jonathan Mounier. That was the Aries towards the end of last year, where he got a beautiful finish in the first round there against an ex-UFC guy. But I mean, he's been fighting kind of around the place a little bit, getting finishes. It looks to me like he's fairly decent on the ground, can get takedowns, can maybe hold on, clinch a little bit. Jourdain, like I say, Jourdain Williams to me is a guy that he's got a lot of heart. I think he's got a condition. I can't remember what it was. I remember reading up about this a few months back, where he's got a condition where he needs to take injections and stuff. I don't know exactly what it is, but 7 wins via knockout, 1 win via submission, 1 win via decision. A guy that's kind of fought in Bellator, had his chances on the Dana White Contender Series a couple of times, actually lost a very close split decision to Kurmagomedov. He's diabetic, so he doesn't cut weight. Well, there we go. That's maybe what it was. Rebounded kind of next time out a year later against Gregory Rodriguez, where he got a beautiful first round knockout. So yeah, this is a close fight to me. I'm edging Jourdain Williams. I think that what I see, I just think he's a well-rounded, kind of more sophisticated striker. I think he can stop the fight from going to the ground. I think Nassourdine will try and take the fight down there, but it's not a fight that I've seen recently too much out of Nassourdine, but I have seen a lot more of Jourdain Williams, and I kind of like more what I've seen. Plus, he's jumping in here. I mean, was that only 2 weeks ago? Shit. So it was only two and a half weeks ago. So I'll take Jourdain Williams. I'll take him via very close decision here, but yeah, it's not. I've not got the greatest read in that one there. Dequan Townsend's got himself another UFC fight against Dusko to Todorovic. Dusko's minus 300. I mean, say what you want about Dequan, he's not UFC caliber. That is fairly evident. But what he does is he fights hard, he fights tough, and he's very dangerous, like, on the feet. Like, I think when he plants his feet and throws heavy bombs, he is super, super dangerous. But he is there to be clinched up. He's there to be taken down at ease. He cannot stop a takedown. He will fight it initially, but he will get too sucked into that, and he will literally just go to his back at any kind of opportunity there. You've seen that in the Dalcha fight, where Dalcha really didn't throw a hell of a lot of volume initially, clinched him up, took him down. The Devin Clark fight, smart thing to take him down. But when he's on his feet and when he's throwing bombs, you have to be careful with this guy. And Dusko, a couple of fights, chin's in the air, a little bit susceptible to the big shot. A young guy coming in his UFC debut, maybe wants to put on a show, could maybe come into the wrong kind of game plan here and maybe try and strike a little bit with Dequan Townsend. That's not how you win this fight here. You clinch him up, you will get opportunities to take this guy down, and I think that's what he does here. But this could become a little bit squirrely if he doesn't fight to that game plan, in my opinion. But Dequan Townsend, I mean, he came in short notice, got kicked back out, came back in short notice again. Yeah, I'll take Dusko to Todorovic, because I've said before, Dequan Townsend will never win a fight in the UFC. I actually kind of hope he does win a fight in the UFC, or he maybe wins this one, because I think there's a whole kind of story regarding his family and brothers and stuff like that, which is always kind of tragic to hear, but he's been involved with drugs and stuff, so he's had a bit of a tough life, tough regional fighter. Just don't think he's UFC standard. I'll take Dusko to win this one via decision. Yorgan De Castro against Carlos Felipe. This is another one I kind of think the betting line's a little bit kind of whack on. I can see why it's minus 270 Yorgan De Castro, because we've seen more from him. Carlos Felipe, in my opinion, against Sergey Spivak looked absolute dog shit. He did not look like the fighter I thought he was going to be, because the UFC had kept him around. They signed him, then they let him go. There was a USADA suspension. There was kind of high hopes, I think, for him, but he did not look good, in my opinion, against Spivak, and just completely was very hittable, was very easy to get taken down. Spivak was hitting with a nice long jab, keeping him at bay, and then when he got the opportunity to take him down, he did so. De Castro, I still think there's some question marks with him. Obviously, you've seen that fight with Justin Tafa, a guy with very little fights, caught him with a beautiful shot there. Went in against Greg Hardy. Everybody seemed to be on De Castro in that spot. I was like on Greg Hardy from the minute I heard that fight there. I thought that was a good fight for him. Showed out that he could fight long, fight smart, and Yorgan De Castro really didn't kind of have that much for him. But going off that last performance of Carlos Felipe, I've been sat there when I was watching his fights thinking, plus he's had suspensions and stuff like that where he's kind of ballooned up in weight, and he's obviously been taking some stuff. Dangerous initially. I think on the feet, Yorgan gets some really nice kicks off. Could really keep him at bay there. I think if he was to clinch up a little bit, then he could maybe make this a little bit easier. He just has to be careful. It's heavyweight, so if you get in there slinging bombs and you get caught with a shot, it's always something you have to be careful with. I'm going to take De Castro, just for the fact that Carlos Felipe, he looked. I watched his last fight earlier on today. I'm like, you don't deserve to be in the UFC with a performance like that. But De Castro might kind of fight down to his level here, and initially they might lose that. So, yeah, that's true, Jack Attack. He might feel the effects of the layoff, and it maybe looks a little bit more relaxed. He's got the UFC kind of jitters out the road, if you can call it that there. So it could play into his hands here. This could initially end up being close. And I think it ends up actually being close. If De Castro doesn't get him out there, I think this is going to be a kind of back and forth fight a little bit, where it could go 29-20 either side. So I'm going to take Yorgan De Castro. I'm going to take him via a very close 29-28 decision. But yeah, not a fight I really want to kind of invest any of my money that I won last week on. So Germaine De Randamie against Juliana Pena. Another fight I've kind of been having trouble with, if I'm being honest with you. Clear striker v grappler matchup here. You've got the savvy Dutch kickboxer in Germaine De Randamie against the kind of tenacious, in-your-face grappler of Juliana Pena, who she cannot stay at distance here at all. She cannot do it. If she stays at distance for any set amount of time here, she will get picked apart. She'll get hit with those long rangy shots of Germaine De Randamie. But if she can get in on the hips of Juliana Pena, then I think she could take her to the ground and she could dominate her there. But I will say I was quite pissed off that we never got the lines that you Americans guys kind of got. I mean, they were getting plus 120, plus 115. Once that line kind of hit the UK, it was like minus 110. I was like, I would have loved plus money on Germaine De Randamie. And ultimately, I'm going to go with Germaine De Randamie. But I've kind of got this feeling here that, I mean, what she got left to fight for, she's probably had a last shot where she lost to Amanda Nunes, where nobody thought she was going to survive 25 minutes there. We thought that once that fight hit the mat, kind of more than a couple of times maybe, that fight was going to be over, and she showed that she's made improvements with her grappling, her jiu-jitsu. I mean, she even sweeped and reversed Amanda Nunes, got a submission in there. But honestly, this fight, I'm struggling with it a little bit here, because Germaine can initially stop some takedowns. You've seen that in was it the Rocky Pennington one, that she really beat her up at distance there, stopped some of the takedowns. Aspen Ladd never got a chance to really get that grappling off and get the ground and pound off. That was just a terrible weight cut for her, obviously, that week. And then she fought tough against Amanda Nunes. So Pena, to me, she's kind of been a little bit of a flake the last kind of couple of years. We've not heard that much from her. She had a baby after the Katzengano win. She looked like she was kind of going to really make her way up there. Fought Valentina. I remember betting on Valentina via in that fight. She was a big underdog, I remember, in that fight, and she came through, got a beautiful submission, came back against Nico Montano, showed that kind of grit and determination to get takedowns, advanced position. Nico did so as well. Very close fight. I'm going to pick Germaine De Randamie via decision, I think. I think that initially I've got a funny feeling that Pena will get takedown. She'll just not find the submission. But I think on the feet is where Germaine's really going to catch her with some big shots. But I would love to have got that plus number beside Germaine De Randamie. I don't think it's going to happen. I think she wins this fight, but I'm a little bit sceptical because if it hits the ground and maybe Pena can maybe get the back, she's just go super aggressive to try and get that finish. So yeah, I'm going to take Germaine De Randamie via decision, even though I think it could end up being fairly close. And the main event of the night, we've got Holly Holm against Irene Aldana. I've had a lot of people kind of hit me up with this one. People seem to be kind of 50-50. I'm definitely on Irene Aldana in this spot, but I'm a fan, and I've said this to a few people. I'm a big fan, actually, of Irene Aldana. I think that she's a fighter that I watched come through Invicta. Was always super impressed with her. I remember watching her fight in Vegas. Who was that against? Was that against Cyborg? No, it wasn't Cyborg. Tonya Evinger, yeah. International Fight Week. I remember watching that and thinking she had a great chance. I actually went to the betting window, put some money down on her, and she kind of got destroyed a little bit in that fight. Rebounded with some wins there in Invicta, made her way over at the UFC, lost a couple of close fights, a couple of really good fights there against Leslie Smith especially. Lost to Chikagan, where you know that you can fight. She can win very close encounters there. Then she looked like her takedown defense can improve against Talita Bernardo. Her boxing is beautiful. I mean, her boxing is absolutely beautiful. The Raquel Pennington fight, I thought she had an opportunity to win that fight there. And then she's shown her last two fights there, just a kind of an overall kind of betterness in her game, pretty much. I really like what I've seen, and it was kind of rectified with that beautiful knockout of Ketlen Vieira. It was like a scoop uppercut in the first round there. Beautiful knockout, beautiful boxing, beautiful length. Obviously, Holly Holm comes from that boxing background. She was a many-time boxing world champion, and that one there. So when I'm looking at this one striking, I think, I mean, Holly Holm's going to be on her bike. She's not going to sit there and trade with someone like Vieira, because I think Vieira is more technical with her striking. Not with her striking, maybe more powerful with her striking. I think that she can maybe use her length a little bit better than what Holly Holm is. One thing I am a little bit concerned about is Holly Holm can maybe go for takedowns, but Ketlen, to me, she's showing, not Ketlen, sorry, Irene Aldana has shown that she's shown some improvements with her takedown defense. Now, I still think that Holly Holm can get her down. I just don't see what Holly Holm does once the fight gets there, and I can see Irene making her way back to her feet and really going for it in that aspect there. I'm going to bring up some of the stats there that I was looking at earlier on, because I do like to sit back and kind of look at stats, and some people like that, some people don't. I'm one of those people that kind of does, because it kind of shows you how some of the fights went in the past. She lands at a far bigger clip than what Holly Holm is. Now, Holly Holm is pow, out. Irene Aldana will sit in there, and she will throw strikes if she has the right opponent that's going to sit there and take them. So obviously she's going to have to try and cut off the cage, cut Holly Holm off, use leg kicks. I think would be a big thing for her, because Holly's going to want to throw 2-3 combination strikes and then move out. And I think she's the more accurate striker. I think she's more versatile. So someone actually said it in the chat there. Someone's she's a little bit more versatile. That's a good word. I think she's a little bit more versatile with her striking than what Holly Holm is. She does absorb too many shots, and Holly Holm has put people out before, so that's a little bit something to consider there. When you look at her takedowns, if I'm looking at Holly Holm, I think she landed some against Megan Anderson, which was smart because Megan Anderson doesn't have a ground game. But outside of that, we've only ever seen it. We've seen it against Ronda Rousey, I think, initially, Marion Renault. So she's not really one for nailing takedowns, but I do think it's something she could use here. I I think this fight goes, if Irene doesn't get her out of there, I think this goes 25 minutes. And I think at dog odds, Irene Aldana is the play for me. Now, if the lines switch, I can definitely see people being on Holly Holm. The people that I've kind of seen and looking through some of the things, a little bit of Twitter, a little bit of some forums, most people kind of seem to be on Holly Holm. And some of the people that have gotten in touch with me seem to be on Holly Holm. I just like what I've seen from Irene Aldana, but I'm a fan of hers, so I'm maybe a little bit biased on her side. I do like the way she throws some of her strikes there, so there could be a good opportunity that I bet Irene Aldana in this one because she is dog money, but I've got a funny feeling that some people might start to... Holly Holm's line might start to go up a little bit, so Irene Aldana might get maybe plus 110. I wouldn't mind that. She's plus 105 in the UK at the minute, so I would like a little bit more if possible, but I'm happy with plus 105, plus 100. That might be a bet that I make towards the end of the week. I'm going to wait and see where the line goes. But I like Irene Aldana. I think she lands more in this one here. And yeah, I like more of what I've seen kind of in the last few fights. I think her striking's very, very good. She's tough. She can take a hit and she can keep on coming. So, plus she's got a big age advantage as well there, where Holly, she's really probably looking last couple of fights, maybe of her career. She's maybe looking at other things in her life. So, but I'll take Irene Aldana in this spot. So, appreciate you guys for sticking around with me for the last 36 minutes. I'm going to get my picks in the description below. I will get the timestamps in the morning. I've got to go up in a few hours for my kid, take her to nursery. So, bedtime for me right now. I really do appreciate everybody in the chat there. I've not really said much there, but I've seen Jack Attack, Boston Nick, I've seen my boy Buffo, Jinh MMA, Wayne Duggar in there, Jimmy the Drunk. I mean, all you guys I see week in and week out, I really do appreciate it, guys. So if you can hit that, if there's any late thumbs up, it'd be much, much appreciated. If you're new to the channel and you like what you see, hit the sub button. If you don't, then that's all good. I appreciate the love and I appreciate you even coming and viewing this here. So until next week, guys, what have we got next week, actually? Is that, I was going to say, is that Aldana? Moraes against Sanhagen. Good fight. Really looking for it. Appreciate that I got a new sub, so I really do appreciate that. MC MJ 1990. Looking forward to next week. I'm looking forward to that main event. It's a great main event. So yeah, looking forward to that. As always, thank you for all the support. Go and support all the other people that make predictions week in and week out. Try and grow this thing bigger. I really do appreciate all the other guys that really put the hard work in and week out and give you guys something to watch, listen to, whatever it may be. Until next week, guys, all the best, take care, and I will catch up with you next week.